What up, guys? I'm former UFC fighter and current owner of Easton Training Center, Elliot Marshall.
I'm Scott Nickel, teaching pastor at Flatirons Community Church.
Scott, am I fucking going to hell?
Yes.
Welcome to the Saint
And the Sinner. All right, everybody, welcome to Saint and the Sinner. Elliot's fresh off a trip to Tulsa.
Came back with Leicester.
Yeah.
No cops.
Big win for Neil. Yeah, no cops this time. Big win for Neil Magny, 4 in a row.
Son, 4 in a row.
He's rolling.
Who's the first one to 4-0 in the UFC? Donald Cerrone? Even though Cowboy's my boy. I do like Cowboy. Cowboy is a loyal motherfucker.
Cowboys?
He really is, man. I have to give it to him. Like, he was in Denver this weekend, and he got tickets to the baseball game. Like, nice tickets. And he called me and Leicester to see if we wanted to go.
Yeah? To the Rockies game?
To the Rockies game.
Yeah.
Just because, he was here, we're buddies, and, it was, I was pretty stoked.
Now, you said first one to 4-0, you mean this year?
This year.
Yeah, this year. Which is amazing. That's a lot of activity.
Yeah.
My son had his first jiu-jitsu tournament this weekend down at the Denver Stock Show or whatever that thing is.
Hey, Scott, who won the tournament?
Easton's.
Oh, shit, really?
Easton's
That's crazy.
Won the tournament for how many years in a row would this be that they've won the
We've
Colorado?
never lost. Don't worry.
Right,
We've never lost.
So.
Don't worry. Hey, who closed? I mean,
I'm trying.
I know we had a lot of competitors.
I'm
right?
trying to talk about my son.
We for sure had a lot of.
We for sure had
a lot of competitors. Who won the absolute division?
I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, we closed that out. Our two guys closed that. 2 of our brown belts. We don't even throw our top dog black belts in.
Am I allowed to talk about my son now?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So he had his first jiu-jitsu. I'm taking off my shoes while we're doing this.
All right.
So he had his first jiu-jitsu tournament. He had 6.
I'm gonna call it this whole
You are. He had 6 matches. So
oh wow! Oh yeah!
Tired boy.
Yeah, he is.
He won 3 and lost 3. So he did gi and no gi.
Nice.
Rode the wave. Had a good attitude throughout. Although he had one rough moment because in the gi or no gi, he got matched up with this girl.
It's awful. It's
and
so unfair. It sucks for him.
Got taken by surprise, man.
Yeah.
She came at him like a spider monkey, like just at him fast, and he wasn't ready for
And they're
that.
the same strength still.
Oh yeah,
like a 10-year-old girl, 10-year-old boy, it's equal still.
They scrapped a little bit. He got on top, she got on top, and then she slapped this armbar on him really fast, and he tapped really quickly.
Yeah.
And he just it was a rough moment, man. I had to talk him back off the ledge,
We had a kid, this kid Keegan. He and his dad have a school now, and he would smash these boys, and then get smashed by these girls. Mm-hmm. Like I used to have to tell my boy Keegan, you have to go beat them.
Yeah.
Like you have to win.
It's a really
you have to go as hard as you can.
It's a weird dynamic. Like I ran into this when he wrestled the first time because I'm always telling him he's not allowed to physically, push, shove, hurt, harm his sister or any other girl. Sure. And then you put him into this scenario and they can't make that switch very easily, and it created conflict for me too. Like, how do I coach him through this? Because if he's going to be involved in wrestling, if he's going to be involved in martial arts, he's gonna have to spar and grapple with girls.
And then there's going to come a time when he's going to have to stop doing that.
Right.
Again.
Right, and then you have to turn that.
You have to turn it back off again.
Yeah. It's a weird thing for sure.
But for him to win, if he wants to win a tournament right now, he's going to have to beat girls because they're going to be in there.
Oh yeah, they're there,
and they're as strong as he is.
Yeah, and they're a lot of times more skilled.
Yeah,
and so because they, like we've talked about, they listen better.
Yeah, and they're a little bit farther than us at this point in time.
So he did good though. It was fun to watch him. He gave a great effort. He did good, winning and losing. He lost. He got screwed in one. There was one ref that and I did my best. It's hard when it's your kid. I did my best to stay out of it, but Cody was getting more mad at this ref than I was because he understands it more than I do. But his last fight of the day in the gi was against this kid who's a lot taller, and this kid tried to pull guard, but Eli was going for the takedown when he pulled guard. So the way I understand it, Eli should have gotten points.
Did he touch his legs first?
Did he touch the kid's legs? Yes.
Then it's points.
Yeah, he had grip on one leg. So,
it's points.
Yeah.
Terrible ref.
So they didn't give him 2 points, and then Eli was on top inside this kid's guard the rest of the fight, and he was working to try to get out of it, and he got warned for stalling 4 times. So at the end, it was 0-0, and the girl gave the victory to the kid who was on the bottom the whole time.
Seth, whenever you're ready and willing to do a referee's course for all your referees, I've been saying it for years.
Yeah, dude, the online little YouTube video thing is
I'm ready to do it. I'll do it for free. I don't even have to get paid.
Yeah. That was frustrating, and to Eli's credit, she raised the other kid's hand, and he turned around and looked at Professor and was like, but he didn't get up. Like, he was upset, but he didn't freak out or anything.
Sure.
You know. So I was more mad than he was, but. Yeah, so it was a good day, and then yesterday I watched a documentary on Sugar Ray Robinson.
Oh man!
So let me ask you a question: who's the best boxer of all time?
Him.
I would have said Muhammad Ali until I watched that documentary.
So Muhammad Ali is the greatest sports icon of all time.
Ahead of Michael Jordan.
Ahead of
internationally, you think?
Michael Jordan changed the world, right?
So did Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali changed the world at a time when it was harder to change the world.
And it mattered more. Yeah, I'll give you that for sure.
He made white people, we're going to get into this, like a Muslim.
Well,
during a time where they hated, well, we still hate Muslims, but they really hated both black people and Muslims.
Yeah, and he also made white people like Joe Frazier. So it's interesting. Depending on how you felt about Muhammad Ali, he was so polarizing.
Black people. Joe Frazier he gets lumped up in black people.
Yeah. It's crazy. So Sugar Ray Robinson. One of the things that I thought was interesting about him was he killed a guy in the ring, which I'd remembered. I'd never heard.
I don't know if I could come back after that.
Well, what I'd never heard, but he had a dream. He said he had a dream the night before that he was going to kill this guy in the ring. He went to the commission and wanted to get out of the fight. They sent all these like priests and pastors and all these people to talk to him and everything.
Are you leading into a story?
And he still fought, and he killed the guy in the ring.
That's crazy.
And he never quite, like all of his family, never quite recovered from it. And there's all these, like, we don't have a lot of the films of some of his best fights.
Right.
But there's all these pictures of him after he's just knocked somebody senseless, like standing over them, like concerned, you know.
So this wasn't an unheard of thing because of the gloves and the rules. They used to be like you didn't get a standing 8 count. You know what I mean? Like they beat the crap out of you.
And I think
dying in the ring wasn't a very it wasn't like this uncommon thing, you know.
And I think he fought at the time too, at least early in his career, when if you got knocked down and you got back up, the guy could be standing right on top.
Yeah, and just start punching you.
It changed at some point during that, but
right. So I'll lead into this story first.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna need some help from all of my viewers in the room. I've asked them in my second story to give a yes or a no if I was right or wrong here. So the first story, my sister-in-law Tani.
Okay.
Tani's great. I love Tani. She's our nanny for our kids, and she's my guinea pig. You know,
she tests all your arguments.
She goes to your church, and I kind of pre-test my arguments. They always go better on her than they do on you. So I did get her on the evolution path though. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. She said the last time I explained it to her, I explained it better than she's ever heard before in her life, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I drew her a picture.
Pictures help, man.
Pictures help. Yeah, I was in the middle of doing it with Caveman, but he had asked me, you know? And she was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know, there can still be a God. And she goes, I know, I love it. I was like, yes. So anyway, the story. We were talking about God and whatever, you know, and she goes, don't you ever get a feeling? Because that's what to me talking to God is, right? When I'm talking and then I get this feeling,
subjective.
Yeah, you know. And she's like, she's like, don't you ever get a feeling when you're getting on an airplane that the plane is going to crash? She says, no. She goes, what if you got that feeling that you were going to get on an airplane and the plane was going to crash? Would you still get on? I was like, yeah, Tom, I get that feeling every fucking time, and I still get on the airplane. And she goes, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, I don't like flying.
I didn't realize that you had this thing about flying.
I don't like it. I don't know.
We talked about it briefly before because you said you don't like your life being in the hands of just that one guy.
Yeah,
those 2 people up there.
And for some reason, you know, this goes back to the no free will thing. I probably saw something at a young age when I saw a plane crash, and it stuck in my head and scared me at a vulnerable time when my chemical mind was being made up, and there it is. So yeah.
Maybe it was the Challenger.
Maybe it was. It could have been. It very could have possibly.
Yeah.
I remember the Challenger is one of my first distinct memories.
Me too. Yeah.
So I'm getting on the plane to Tulsa, right? And I just take my phone out of my pocket to look at it, and as I'm walking on the plane, and it's 9/11 as I get on the plane, and I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, oh my God! I'm like, I don't crash. You know?
Did you text me before you got on the plane?
After, you know? I was so scared. And like then the plane had some turbulence, and I was freaking out, and Lisa was like looking at me. I was like, oh man, really? 911, really? As I walk on the plane? Oh my Lord, I was like, this is crazy. And then I texted everybody. I texted you and her. And Scott goes, it's a sign from God. And I was like, well, I sure did make it to Tulsa. Well, you said God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah, it's a warning shot across your bow.
So, so here's my story. Here's my story that I want to tell. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong here. So, I played fantasy football. Not this year, apparently starting yesterday. Okay, so yes, I'm wrong. So I played some fantasy football. And... man,
I'm not playing this year either. I'm too late, I think.
Oh, I'm not playing this year because, in my opinion, someone was an asshole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, here you go. Ready? So I'm playing, and the league that I play on is somebody that Renee used to work with. I'm not sure if she still works with him. He's a tech, in the hospital. And we don't see him very often. Like I probably haven't seen him in 2 years, right? And he's obviously not at the hospital. Yeah, he can't be at the hospital because Renee would have just paid him, right? So I didn't pay him from last year.
Yeah.
And he had asked me a couple times, and I totally spaced it. And we're talking about $50. Right. We are not talking about a large sum of money.
Right.
So like 2-3 months ago, he sends me a text, and we are not friends. We know each other.
Acquaintances.
We are acquaintances. He texts me. He sends me a text. This is fucking ridiculous, dude. Where's my money?
Wow.
Okay? So I let it go. I let that go.
Well, time out for a second.
Yeah.
Time out. So in what world?
Yeah, okay, no, so hold on. So I let it go because I owed him money. I replied with, really sorry, I'm putting it in the mail right now. And I to bring the piece back, I was like, dude, can I even pay you an extra $50 right now for this year? And he was like, 100%. So I sent a check for 100, and to even bring the piece back even more, I took a picture of me putting it in the mailbox and putting the flag up, so he knew it was on his way, and I sent it to him, right? So now fast forward a couple months, yesterday. So we're playing on a Yahoo league, and I don't have a Yahoo email, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, you're supposed to register your team yesterday by 3. He sends me a text at 2, and I'm like, dude, I'm in an airport on a plane, I'm going to do my best. So Renee and I try to make it happen. It doesn't happen, right? And I guess you just get kicked out of line for your draft order and you have to go to the back.
I have no category for that level of
off. Ready? Dude, I was like, okay, I just landed. He goes, what's your password? I was like, I don't remember. I was like, okay, Renee logged in and can text you. And I was like, Renee logged in, so you can text her to tell her what to do. And he texts back, and then this is now 10 minutes later. Too late, we have to reset the whole league and draft order. That's fucking ridiculous, dude. Again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm in the car with Leister, and I pick up, and I read it, and I look at Leister, and I go, I'm about to yell at somebody.
So this was the guy Leister was talking about this morning.
So I pick up the phone, and I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? I was like, if I was standing right in front of you, you would never say that to me. I was like, you motherfucking pussy. I was like, you must have lost your mind. Right?
Yeah.
So
Leister came in this morning and was like, I've never seen Elliot that mad at somebody. I felt like he was so mad he was going to cry.
I was close. I was really that fired up.
Well, so you've met this dude a couple times.
No, I've met him multiple times.
Yeah, but
we've talked, and he's helped me with things. I'm not saying that we don't know each other.
Right, but is he, in the scheme of physical ability, where does he lie? On a 1 to 10?
He looks like him.
So, what does that mean? Let's assign a number to that, because now I'm really curious.
You want to know what he looks like? I didn't say it was bad. How did I say it was bad? You said on a physical realm. I just called it Hank. He looks exactly like Hank.
Okay.
Right? That's what he looks like, man.
In regards to his ability to potentially beat up a former UFC fighter in a scheme of 1 to 10, 10 being he will kick your ass, 1 being no chance in the world, where is he lie?
A -1,000.
Okay. So what do you think's wrong with this guy?
I don't know. So I'm screaming at him.
Yeah.
Right? I am screaming
And
at
he's
him.
provoked this.
And he doesn't think he's done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you don't understand how to be a fucking man.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not how you speak to somebody else.
Right.
You know? And I wanted to be like, you know what, bro? I can beat up 99.9% of the world, and I don't fucking talk like that. Right?
Wow.
This is a true statement, right?
Yeah.
There's few people that are going to beat me up.
So after all that,
After all that, I get home, right? So I text her and I was like, well, Troy and I aren't friendly anymore. Like while I'm driving home,
the staff Christmas party's gonna be awkward.
You know. So and I explained it to her a little bit, you know. And I get home, and like 10 minutes later, this motherfucker sends her a text to enter the team in the league after I told him that we are not in.
Yeah.
On the phone.
He still wants, so he still gets.
So he's now texting my wife.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So guess what he gets? Another damn phone call.
Last
right?
night again.
Yeah, another phone call. And I'm like, you don't get this. I was like, literally nobody told you how to be a man, huh? I was like, you've lost all of that. You don't know how to be an adult male in the world today.
What did he say?
He was like, don't go there, man. I was like, oh no, we're there. You went there.
You took it there.
I was like, dude, I was like, I don't even care if you want to be friends with my wife still. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Don't text her about your fucking pussy-ass football league. You know?
I hope that you have to be at a staff Christmas party with him. I hope there's some sort of...
What do you think's going to happen? You think I'm going to let that go if I see him? I'm going to walk right up to him and be like, go ahead.
What you should do is just go, how did the fantasy football league
No, I'm just going to ask him to start cursing at me in my face so that everybody else can hear it and wonder why he's not happy in 5 seconds later.
Right. He won't do that.
He won't do that. Of course not.
No. That'll be bad.
He, of course, on the phone said he would. You know?
Right. I'll say it to your face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, on the phone, of course.
So this is why Lisa was saying, just give me your address.
This is why Lisa was like, let's just come where you are, and I'll be right there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, let's test the theory.
Am I wrong on his lack of man card?
No.
Right?
This is why.
Yeah.
Does anybody object? Even though you have already insulted Hank, you might.
No, you asked what he might.
That wasn't what I was asking.
Okay.
You didn't listen to my question.
Sorry. Damn it, Cody! I did it again.
I was trying to get you to rank his physical ability on a scale of 1 to 10, and you were like,
I thought you meant physical appearance. I'm sorry.
Yes. Now I see. So one thing first. This is one of the problems with texting. Social awareness has lost. It's gone. Like, people don't understand you. And email. You would never say that to somebody in person. The emails I get from people, are unbelievable. There's been times where I've responded to people with would you say this if you were standing in front of me? I highly doubt it. You wouldn't have called me that. You wouldn't have threatened that. You wouldn't have said this or that. There's just no way. But people get really brave behind a keyboard.
Their balls get so big.
Yeah.
Their balls get they're like Samoan caveman fucking large, right?
Samoan caveman balls.
Man.
That should be the title of this episode.
They get really large, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing what people think they can and can't say.
And we have a whole, I feel like an old person every time I say a whole generation of it. But, I was having this conversation with we had some friends in town, and they have a daughter who's 13. They have 4 kids, and they're letting her have a phone now. And I was kind of griping about how, Landry, my fifth grade daughter, is 10. Lots of her friends have had phones since they were 6, 7 years old, and she doesn't care a thing about having one. I just can't even fathom what the point of that is. I can't even get my mind around why your 10-year-old, I understand the whole safety thing or whatever, but that's not what they're using it for. They're taking selfies 100 times a day, and they're texting, and they're doing all this stuff, and so it leads to people who can't actually make eye contact with somebody and speak.
And you can't talk to somebody for real.
You can't talk to somebody for real. It's amazing.
My wife gets mad at me, but I talk to everybody. When I, ugly, fat, skinny, good looking, doesn't matter.
Yeah. You're equal opportunity.
I'm equal opportunity in conversation. Let's talk.
See, and I'm not at all. I'm an introvert, and so I don't like to just bring up conversations.
You left those on the desk today.
I did?
I did, no.
Oh, I was going to say, I can clip my townnails during the podcast. Nice. That would be a new one. So let me ask you this. This will maybe get us into
I got to go one more. I got another one.
Yeah?
So you've constantly asked me
Yeah.
how people believe, how the whole Jesus thing, right? If it wasn't true, right? If it wasn't true, why did all those people say it was true?
Oh, what's your reason? Yeah, what's your
Right?
reason?
Like, and then I
You
keep
said
saying
they're psycho.
They're
Yeah.
psycho.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Lloyd motherfucking Irvin.
Huh?
Lloyd Irvin.
Who's Lloyd Irvin?
Exactly. Okay?
He's trapping me.
Lloyd
See how
Irvin.
this works?
Lloyd Irvin.
I thought you were going to say Lloyd, the guy from Dumb and
No.
Dumber, for a second.
Lloyd Irvin is a black belt on the East Coast
Uh-huh.
who crushed the jiu-jitsu scene
Okay.
and taught people he has all this information out, how to run your school, how to get more, how to get more leads, and it's a little cheesy. You know what I mean? It's cheesy, but I won't say it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go that route because I just disagree with it.
Yeah.
So, and he is also the funny part about this, right? And it's not so funny now that you look at it. Now that you've seen a whole decade.
What happens? Yeah.
He's this big black guy.
Mm-hmm.
His schools are in Virginia.
Yeah.
Right? And he gets these people to he gets disciples almost, right? Like he brings these kids in. He has a ton of money from doing other stuff. His private lesson rate is $2,500 an hour, and it's not because he's that good, right? It's because that's what his time's worth.
That
To
demand.
him, you know what I mean? His time to him. That's what your private lesson's worth. You have world champions who do it for like $80 because they're broke.
Right.
So that's what his time's worth, and I don't fault him for that.
Sure.
So he's a really rich guy, and he wanted to blow up the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought some houses, put some jiu-jitsu guys, he's made some studs.
Yeah.
But he didn't create them. They were getting good, and then he brought them in, had them teach at his schools, and that's all he paid them, and they could just train all the time now.
Yeah.
Right? Most of them, these little white kids from the South, and he did the whole master thing. You know what I mean? So, what you do professor? Well, he did master.
Master.
So you got these little white dudes walking around in the South
Calling a black
Master Lloyd, and it's funny.
Oh,
Master
wow.
Lloyd, and he has totally brainwashed people.
Right.
Master Lloyd, can I get you a cup of water, Master Lloyd?
Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, Master Lloyd, I sit down in my seat, Master Lloyd. This is your seat, oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and the black people do it too.
Right.
It's just funnier when you hear the white people.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just more comical.
Wow.
So here you go.
Yeah.
Last year,
Yeah.
in one of his houses where his fighters are, 3 of his students raped another.
I read this.
Right?
Yeah.
They came out and called her a whore.
Yeah.
They destroyed her character.
Uh-huh.
Right? It then came out that when Lloyd was in college, he was participating in a gang rape.
Uh-huh.
And you know how he got off? I couldn't get it up while I was trying to have sex with her.
Wow.
And he got off because he didn't rape her.
Right. Jeez.
Guess what?
What?
You should see his supporters.
What? Oh, yeah, I read
You
some of
should
it back in when it happened.
His supporters.
Yeah.
He fully, willingly admits that he was trying to rape a girl.
Right. Right. And yet they have this allegiance to him.
You should see it.
Yeah.
Blind, crazy allegiance
Right.
to some asshole. And I'm not saying Jesus was an asshole, right? But you're asking me how it happens.
Oh, sure.
These people get so psychotic, you can't talk to them about it. It doesn't matter what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked, right? You asked, how does things like this happen?
Yeah.
And I'm showing you. Because this is worse. This is 100 times worse. Because it's not like we can go back in time and really see if Jesus woke up or not.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
We can see this.
Yep.
It's in our present day.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is. Blindness to any truth. They believe in this godlike figure that he created himself to be so much that all of this stuff over here doesn't matter.
Sure.
So you asked, and there's the answer.
Yeah. I would never contend that it's impossible for people to be
That's all I'm
brainwashed. There's no
hundreds
way I
of
would
people
contend with that. Sure.
He has 10 schools. He probably has 3,000 students.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can point to all kinds of cults that start and all that.
So, but you're asking how it spreads, right? So he's not trying to spread it across the world.
Right.
Because he doesn't want to.
Right.
But he's for sure made his thing spread and still spreading in his area.
Well,
so you ask, right?
The place where I feel like there's a disconnect, and I don't want to take us down a huge, rabbit trail, but the place where I feel like there's a disconnect is you have a point leader, call him a cult leader or whatever,
who has a motivation to make that happen. So it would be impossible to not indict Jesus in that case. I mean, I think you would have to go the direction of saying, I think Jesus was trying to brainwash people to say that. And then your argument might hold up at least as being a little more valid.
Was he not?
Huh?
Was he not?
No,
He was trying to tell people to follow his lead.
Well, absolutely.
That's all Lloyd's trying to do.
Absolutely. But what you have to...
Lloyd makes so much less money off of his jiu-jitsu stuff than he does everything else.
Yeah.
Like,
what's his motivation? What's his motivation?
He just likes jiu-jitsu.
You think he's trying to make money, get influence, gain power? You know, usually that's the goal for cult leaders. Is I want to either sleep with your wife, daughters, you know, and everybody, or I want to make a lot of money, or I want to gain a lot of power. You know, that kind of thing. Jesus didn't do any of that, nor did he get any of that. He got crucified.
Yeah, but his thing was to spread the word of God. What he believed was the word of God.
Well,
he wanted that to grow.
He did. He told his disciples to tell everybody about me, for sure.
There's your motivation.
Yeah. So Jesus brainwashed everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course you know it. Right. But you've always asked me how does it happen?
So you're trying to look for,
and I'm showing you how it happens, right? Yeah. I'm showing you absolute craziness.
Mm-hmm. So is that different in your mind from delusional psychopathy?
No, they're delusional.
Okay, all right. So it's kind of in that same stream.
It's the same stream. It's there's nothing different.
All right.
There's nothing different.
All right.
And we can't so this is my point with Jesus is you don't know what his motives were because you weren't there. Like so, what the history that's going to be written about Lloyd Irvin, who knows?
Well, you have to kind of go back to that. He did a really bad job.
But we just don't know.
Yeah, he didn't gain anything for himself. Well, he did a bad job for himself because he ended up crucified.
But
you know, that's not usually the motivation of most cult leaders. They want to.
Yes, they all die. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because they get attacked or they get.
No, and they all preach that they're going to die. But we're going to go down.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So all this racial stuff's been going on lately, and I want to ask you a bunch of questions today. But all this racial stuff's been going on.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk because I wanted the white guy to say all the stuff.
Well, I'll say stuff too, but I want to lead in with this. So, and this is a weird tie-in. But so Peyton Manning, did you watch any of the game the other night? I didn't watch any of it either. But against the Texans, one of their defensive backs hits Wes Welker. Mm-hmm. It didn't look like that cheap of a shot to me. Everybody. It was a shoulder pad, hit him in the helmet. But anyway, gives him a concussion. Welker gets a concussion every time he gets touchdown. He's probably going to have to retire. So
not good for the Broncos.
Not good for the Broncos. So Peyton, mad about that. He throws this sweet, touchdown pass, burns the same defensive back.
I saw the touchdown pass.
Then he runs all the way up the field to the defensive back and just talks smack to this defensive back, which Peyton never does.
Sure.
And everybody, including me, was like, that was awesome. That was cool to see Peyton take up for his own guy, to see a little fire out of Peyton, talk a little smack. Like, everybody is going, look at Peyton, what a good leader, what a great guy, everything. Now, here's the question. If Cam Newton does that, what happens?
What the fuck do you think happens?
I know what happens. He gets called all kinds of things. Look at that, he's immature. They would say he's immature. They would say he's a thug. They would say that that's a distraction.
Let's be
cost your team 15
let's
yards.
Be real clear. I'm just going to say real clear that a synonym for thug is that if you could use another word, what that other word would be. And I'm not saying that you, but you know what I mean?
Right.
The people who go, you thug.
Right.
And everyone's going to blow, call white dude a thug.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah. It's that generalization. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the things that kind of struck me the other day was like...
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
If Cam Newton would have done that, this would not be the media reaction.
Could you imagine if Michael Vick...
I was going to say him.
Could you imagine if Michael Vick did it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think...
Peyton's great.
Yeah, I think that points to, just in general, when we talk about this whole racism topic, there's a whole lot of nuances to it, and it's very complex and all that kind of thing. But in general, I think everybody just needs to fess up and admit that everybody is a little bit racist at some level, And I think that any white person who tries to tell you that they don't have some of that in them is probably lying to you, or just they're unaware, But if Peyton Manning walks in a room and Cam Newton walks in a room, all right, full of white people, the white people are going to, by nature, feel more comfortable around Peyton Manning and feel a little bit fearful of Cam Newton in some regard. So everybody who likes to say racism doesn't exist or it's just perpetuated by the media, and I do think the media just stokes flames and fires and throws gasoline on it.
100%. No one's gonna say they don't.
But to your point, you said before the podcast, there's already a fire there that the media is throwing gasoline on. Don't say racism doesn't exist.
I'm gonna go with the media provokes it.
Yeah, the question.
Jason Gray, here you go. You idiot. The Zimmerman case.
Yep.
We're not going to get into the
Yeah.
guilty, not guilty.
Yeah.
What if you were walking through the neighborhood, Scott?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just wondering.
Well, here's what's never happened to me as a white guy. I've never been walking or jaywalking or doing anything like that and had a cop yell at me or...
hold on. Have you jaywalked?
Yes.
Have you jaywalked in the middle of the street?
Yes.
Okay. We're just checking.
Yes, I have done this. I've also just driven a car casually.
Yeah.
Without breaking laws and never been pulled over just to be talked to, you know.
Which has happened in my life.
Right. Yeah, I mean, explain that to everybody. I mean, I think that's something people don't
get
understand.
it. People don't get this, right? They don't get what this is like for black people, right? And for people of minority, of a darker skin color, right? So my dad, I mean, I was a kid. It's probably, maybe 2 times, be driving down the road,
And you grew up in
I grew up in New Jersey.
Your dad's African.
I grew up in New Jersey. My dad's an African American male. My mom is white.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, I know I don't look black. And if you see a picture of my kids with their blonde hair, one of them, you're not like, oh wow, that kid's got some Negro. So we're driving down the road in New Jersey, and New Jersey is a place, unlike Colorado, which is where most of our listeners are, where there are a multitude of minorities and a multitude of different races. Right. So in Colorado, this doesn't happen as much because you probably know the black guy that lives down the street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know who he is. You see him every day. It's okay.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, you run into Mexicans, Asians, black people,
everybody.
It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Everybody. So we're driving down the road, and you see the cop turn around. You think nothing of it because you're doing nothing.
Not doing anything wrong.
You're going 57 in a 55.
Right, you're good.
So all those rap songs when you hear about people talking about going 5 miles an hour over the speed limit and getting pulled over, and you go, "Oh man, that doesn't happen."
Yeah,
it does.
That's Jay-Z's line. You're doing 55 and a 54.
Yeah. When we get pulled over, right? My dad dressed in a suit.
Yeah.
He's a high school principal.
Yeah.
Coming to pick me up after soccer practice or I don't remember what practice it was. And the cop comes up to the car, and my dad goes, "Officer, can I help you?" And he goes, "I'm just checking."
Yeah.
And this is an experience of mine.
Yeah, I'm just
probably. What are you checking for?
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to wear a suit? Am I not allowed to be an African American male and be successful? Because you're going to damn me if I do, and you're going to damn me if I don't.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So what do you want? Do you want me to go to Harvard and get straight A's? Or do you want me to rang around gang banging with my blue handkerchief on my head and my AK on my and my gat on my waist? Which one would you like? And which one would you like to damn me for?
Yeah. The Colorado factor can't be overlooked.
It can't be. There's nothing here.
I've said that ever since I moved out here, because my high school was like almost, it was 40%.
I'm sorry, because I have to finish the point before it gets lost. So when this happens to you, your whole life, and it didn't happen to me my whole life, I've just seen it, but it happened to my dad his whole life, right? When it happens to you as a kid, 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and then you get to grow older, and it's still happening to you, and it's still happening to you, and all your experience through life is this, right? My dad is not Irving Marshall. My dad is the black guy, Irving Marshall. Right. And the black guy always comes first. Irv doesn't come first. Right. So, and that's your life experience. You tend to get a little upset. Yeah. When maybe you jaywalked.
Yeah. Yeah, it creates a world.
Or maybe, or maybe you're walking through a neighborhood. Right? I'm just using the last 2 cases, right? Or maybe you're walking through a neighborhood, and you're like, is this guy really following me? So when you, as Scott Nickel, the white guy, because the white guy's at the end, when that guy follows you, and you can just go like, dude, it doesn't bother you.
Right.
You're like
not
nothing.
this long list of
Yeah,
history.
yeah. You know, you haven't been sat on the curb 30 times and searched.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
for nothing.
and you guys are, and people are going to try to say, "Oh, that doesn't happen, man."
It does happen.
It happens.
You cannot deny it.
It happens.
So,
it happens.
Let me ask you this. So one of the guys who was commenting on here is he used to be a mall cop, and I won't make fun of mall cops too much. But one of the things he brought up was that every time he had to deal with somebody who was black, they would play the race card immediately. Oh, you're just picking on me because I'm black. You know, what's your take on that?
You've been picked on so many times because you're black. So why do you think you're getting picked on again?
Do you think that there's ever kids who haven't been, or people who haven't been, and they just use that as an opportunity to play the card?
There has to be.
I can see how people would do it.
Yeah, there has to be. You know, but it's
Yeah, but again,
if you are black and in America, you are black first.
Mm-hmm.
I just said you are black 1st.
Mm-hmm.
You are not American first, and unfortunately that's the way we see it. And everyone's gonna go, "Oh, we have a white president." I mean, a black president. Sorry, Yes, And I won't say people aren't so racist to the core where they're coming out and saying, "I'm gonna hang you from a tree" anymore. Right. So we're not talking about that. Have we moved from that?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. But to try to deny that it doesn't exist, I think is silly. And I think things like that have happened recently, when they pop up and they become this big explosion, it just reminds us, oh yeah, we're not where we think we are. You know, there's huge racial divisions in our country.
Huge.
And I mean, all you have to do is go to any high school and watch. The black kids sit with the black kids, the white kids sit with the white kids, the Mexicans sit with the Mexicans, and you'll see that mix up a little bit here and there, but in general, that's the way it is, And so to pretend that there aren't then perceptions created when you're living kind of isolated from one another, or you're in one group against, and there's another group is silliness. And so it always freaks me out a little bit whenever one of these things happen, because I think it just reveals how silly some people are when it comes to race issues,
Everyone wants to point to that he robbed the store.
Oh yeah, the Ferguson
the Ferguson case. I mean, let's just talk about it a little
bit. The last thing I heard was that they had tape of him paying for the cigars or whatever. But either way,
let him rob the store.
Let him rob the store.
Let him rob the store.
Yeah, let's say he stole some cigars.
Let him rob the store.
Mm-hmm.
Let's even let him push the cop back in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Are you not trained to handle this, officer?
Yeah, it's a strange thing, man. It's a strange thing.
Is this the first time you've ever arrested or had an altercation with an individual who has robbed the store and resisted arrest?
Yeah, but the penalty for resisting arrest isn't death.
It's not death.
It can lead to your death because you're doing something silly or stupid or whatever. Like the other one. Did you watch the video of the other shooting about 4 miles from Ferguson that I was talking about?
No, I haven't had a chance.
Don't watch it unless you just really want to, because it's horrible. Like, this dude robs this convenience store, couple drinks, and he's standing out on the curb. He sets these drinks down on the curb, and he's pacing around. And he's just pacing around, and this guy films the whole thing. And he's just and he's obviously crazy. He's obviously not right. Like, he's off, Sure. But he's got his hand in his hoodie's pocket, And you're like, what? As you're watching, you're like, what's he got in his pocket, So the cops pull up, and this guy, as soon as the cops pull up, starts walking towards him and yelling, "Shoot me. Just shoot me. Just shoot me." So he climbs up on this, raised sidewalk.
Black guy, white guy?
Black guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and he gets up there, and the cops have already drawn down on him, and they're telling him to get down on the pavement, to stop. And I mean, he's probably 10 feet away. The initial report said 3. He's not even close to 3 feet away. They just unload on him. I think 6 shots kill him. After they kill him, they cuff him. There's all these people around watching. Keep in mind, this 4 miles from where the previous one happened. And so unarmed guy, he had a knife. The way that it first was reported was that he came at the cops with an overhand grip on this knife. Well, then they saw the video and they had to amend their statement because he didn't do that, So here's a guy who obviously is trying to commit suicide by cop. He's running at cops in an aggressive way, saying, "Shoot me, shoot me, shoot me." Now, I would say the penalty for that
should not be the death penalty.
Right.
There had to be another way to handle that situation. But when you do stupid things, sometimes you die.
Sure.
So if you're going to be stupid, you can't sometimes all bets are off. You can't guarantee the way other people are going to handle it. Now, it seems that guy had a death wish. Now, on the other side of that whole thing, I go, if I'm a cop and I'm me, all right, I'm Scott Nickel, I have 4 kids and a wife at home, and a dude is coming at me, threatening my life, or, I feel like my life's being threatened, what would I do in that situation? You know what I mean? Because my mind immediately goes to my family, everything I have to protect, all that kind of thing, which when you sign up to be a cop, that's what you signed up for, But I do understand how some guys can go after you deal, and I think we've talked about this before, when you deal with people in the worst situations ever, you're constantly being screamed at, yelled at, you're dealing with the worst.
I'm not faulting all cops.
Me either.
Yeah, no, of course not. They have a tough job.
They have a really tough job that they're not paid enough for.
And they're not trained. They're not trained properly.
Well, Hank and Jay and I have talked about that before. Sometimes cops are the worst at shooting their weapons. I could go find.
I don't even want to talk about shooting the weapons. I want to talk about de-escalating a situation.
Sure. And the one in Ferguson is probably to me, if the reports are all correct, that you have a guy running away who gets shot as he's running away, and turns around with his hands up and says, "Stop shooting me! I'm unarmed." And you keep shooting him, something's wrong. Something's amiss,
So what I really am very interested to see with the Ferguson case is the KKK's there.
Are they there now?
Doing a fundraiser for Darren Wilson. I want to see if he takes the money.
Yeah.
From the KKK.
Boy, the cops PR firm, if they have one, you'd think would advise against that. But boy, yeah.
We'll just see if he takes the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here, I read something this weekend. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
For the moment, things were looking. Oh, sorry. Face it, black folk. Michael Brown let you down. For a moment, things were looking pretty good. The boy shot multiple times with his hands up, college-bound, poor innocent, and in response, helicopters and tanks. Maybe this time we thought they would believe us. But that's all been ruined. We now have all sorts of reasons to make us doubt Michael Brown's humanity. He may have stolen some cigarillos. He may have been facing the officer when he was shot. He got shot in the top of the head, which might mean that he was surrendering, or it might mean he was being defiant. He made amateur rap songs. Perhaps worst of all, he's been caught grimacing at a camera, making a contorted peace sign, and it turns out he was pretty tall. And Fox News has been trying to cast doubt on whether he was actually going to college in the first place or not. All signs that his life was worth less than what we might have hoped for. It's like what happened to Trayvon Martin, really. Over the course of a few days, he went from an innocent boy holding a bag of Skittles to a vicious, ruthless thug. We found out that he smoked pot. We found out that he said bad words. We found out that he was wearing a hoodie. We saw a picture of him making an angry face. Zimmerman's lawyers released text message logs, and we found out he didn't speak the Queen's English. And with each new revelation about both of these boys, some true, some false, we let out of another collective sigh. We had been let down. Of course, we knew that our reaction was ridiculous. We know that pushing someone at a convenience store, being a less than stellar student, shouldn't be a death sentence.
Right.
And hell, if you think that throwing up a contorted peace sign or even an actual verifiable gang sign means that you are in a violent gang, well, I've got a bridge, and I'd like to sell you, and a few thousand thug white women I'd like you to call 911 about, because there's an epidemic going on. And then there's this picture of this white chick throwing up some gang signs. But it was still disappointing, not because we believed that that these were reasons for these boys to die, but because we knew that so many Americans were itching for a reason, any reason to condemn these boys to death in their minds, to make it all their fault. And being simply human, these dead spirits gave them that ammunition. Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, they failed us all by not being perfect.
Yeah.
One of the most compelling stories ever told is that of Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter whether you follow his teachings or those of his followers, the story is a wonderful one. A man was born under magical circumstances, lived among the poor and sick, and performed miracles. He was sentenced to a brutal and unjust death, which he accepted because it was for the good of his neighbors, even those that hated him. He was literally perfect. Maybe that's why why the recent revelation that Jesus may have had a wife is so controversial. I don't know where that came from.
It comes out once every 10 years.
Oh, yeah. People are angry about this, but they shouldn't be. After all, what's the matter with having a wife? If you believe it doesn't change anything, at all. He still performed miracles. He still died. He still came back to life. He's still God's son. You can still pray to him, which I think would be correct, right?
Just glad we have all these quotes out of your mouth now. We can cut these up.
Yeah.
Use those.
But maybe the issue is that as a formerly Puritan society, we need our saviors to be spotless, to be clean. Perhaps that's what all the fuss is about. Some pictures of Jesus being spotless and clean. So maybe what all these terrified racists need is someone that no matter how hard they try cannot be dehumanized. Someone beyond human, someone Christ-like. Someone that can give them for themselves and wash their souls of fear and hate and judgment. Someone that can bring them into the light of humanity and love and logic. Maybe what we need is a 5'8", light-skinned, Harvard-bound star tennis volleyball player, violinist, poet, and the volunteers at the local pets shelter, baking amazing blueberry muffins, speaks with a mid-Atlantic accent, has a white name, who has never taken a photo with anything other than thumbs up and a smile. Just recently published a groundbreaking cure for cancer in Science, and we need him to die. Someone needs to find this boy and kill him in public. It's our only hope. I'd offer myself, honestly, I would, but I got a D in calculus once, so I don't qualify. I'm not good enough.
That's well written.
And he just keeps going, you know what I mean? He just goes on like this.
Where was that on?
Medium.com.
Yeah.
What do we need?
Well written.
Yeah, what do we need? What do we need? Do we need a perfect black kid to die? Because I don't know one.
Yeah.
Because you weren't perfect and I wasn't perfect. And whatever it is that they want to do to make us not perfect, they're going to be able to find.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I smacked a girl's ass once in the hallway in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I did it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's very, I'm sure it's wrong.
If you did that now, yeah.
I'm sure you've done it too, you know?
They used to pull their bra straps.
Yeah,
yeah.
Let me see.
Statute of limitations on that stuff.
I streaked in college, which would now be I'd be now on the sexual predators list.
Yeah.
You know? I got a girl drunk and had sex with her, you know? Which is now could be a crime, you know. All this, you know. That was that, and let's have a drink. Which I've done all these things. I mean, yes. Right. So none of us are perfect.
What did we all just confess to?
Yeah. So why do only the minorities get destroyed?
Yeah, I think that article is really well written because it points to what happens is immediately what happens is we'll say victim is the credibility is attacked and we look for justification. It was justified because he might have been in a gang.
Yeah.
It was justified because of he was a bad student. It was justified because of what we're trying to do.
She was raped because of.
Right, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's exactly
the same thing.
They had it coming.
I hate to tell you, white men, there are other things. Right? You might be part of the problem, right? And I get lumped into white men too.
Yeah.
You know, like I get lumped into men for sure, right? Look, no girl deserved to get raped. I don't care how many people she's had sex with.
Right?
Yeah,
you have to look at that circumstance. That's the thing. You know, in that moment, this guy was unarmed, and he was killed, So in that moment, she was saying no, to your point.
Yeah.
Just because she said yes 1,000 times before. If that guy had done all kinds of other stuff before, you still don't get to shoot the unarmed guy.
You can rape your wife.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can rape your wife, and God, it's been, how long have you been married?
Almost 14 years.
You've been having sex with her for a decade and a half.
Right.
And you can rape her. Because if she doesn't want to go, then the answer is no.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think that just points to there's such we don't want to admit that there could be racist motivations for certain things, and so we look for all these other things and we ignore what actually just happened, And I think that's what we see going on right now, and you see it on Fox News every time. If you ever turn it on, I can handle 10 seconds, I think, is my threshold.
It's comedy.
It is funny.
I look, so
Sean Hannity, was he the one who talked about how never...
I always just say yes, sir.
I'm always polite to the cops.
No shit, asshole.
Yeah.
One question for everybody.
Yeah.
let's go to the Trayvon Martin case for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, I don't know what time was it? It was dark.
Yeah, it was nighttime.
It was nighttime. If you were walking through a neighborhood, right, getting home, and you were, how old was he?
What was he, 14?
14.
Something like that. Could be wrong.
I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
What would you do if you caught some man following you?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah. Yeah, who
And
knows?
you knew you weren't getting out.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And you knew you weren't getting out.
The
And you're
thing-
like, man, I'm going to have to deal with this situation.
Yeah.
What would
Yeah.
you do?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you get into a tussle with him and you see that he's got a gun.
Yeah. Now it's
What-
game time.
What would you do?
Yeah.
Would you reach for his gun?
Yeah, because he's going to kill me.
He might kill
Yeah.
you. Are you going to wait for him to kill you?
Right.
Right? George Zimmerman, by the way, got arrested in Ferguson.
In Ferguson? For what?
Huh?
For what?
Pulling a gun on 2 black guys.
In Ferguson. Oh, good for him. Yeah. The thing I think a lot of people in Colorado miss, and I was thinking about this the other day at the jiu-jitsu tournament. So they have this rule about how, parents, and I think it's an awesome rule, can't be down on the mats.
Yeah.
You got to have this armband type thing, And Eli had gotten lost between his coaches and what mat he was supposed to be on, and so I was walking into his mat, and I'm not supposed to be there technically, So I walk into his mat. Gilbert Smith walks up to me, and Gilbert's a fighter out of Colorado Springs, real big muscular black dude, you know, and I know who he is, and we met before and all that kind of thing. And he walks up and he's as polite as can be. Hey man, I'm really sorry to tell you this. And I went, bro, I get it. I'm just dropping him off. I'm out. My bad. He's like, thank you. I appreciate that. It's like, a lot of people, when they see a big muscular black dude walking up to him, a lot of things play through your mind. I've had the fortune of being around a lot of black people over the course of my life and being in these environments with jiu-jitsu and fights and things like that where there's lots of minorities and there's
You've talked about your experience with Vinny.
Yeah.
You and Vinny.
And that's where I'm kind of going with that is that until you walk into a restaurant, a nice restaurant, right?
Not McDonald's.
Not McDonald's. I've walked into really nice restaurants with Vinny, who is Puerto Rican. My friend Christian, who is Italian. His wife is Mexican. My friend Jam, who is, you've met Jam before. He's also biracial. He's black and his mom's white Jewish.
Oh wow, we're
yeah,
homies.
you're homies. Yeah.
I thought it was me and Sammy Davis Jr. the only
not
one.
just
Me
him.
and Jam
You
too.
and-
Yes.
you and Jam back.
Jam, hell yeah, baby.
Yeah, and so I've walked into nice restaurants and other environments with those guys, and I've watched as the whole restaurant gets nervous and freezes. Like, you can see it. Like,
And you've watched as the waiter gives the other people water first.
oh yeah, and I've watched.
And you just wonder why.
Yeah,
And you're just wondering. I'm like, and the first time it happens to you, you're like, God, maybe that's just the way it rolled.
Yeah.
But by the 20th time
yeah.
that
You're
you
like-
walk into a nice restaurant and you're the last people to get water,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to constantly be asking for water,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. Colorado just
You figured
it's
it
a
out.
different place, man. People don't understand because there's not as many minorities, and everybody likes to think they're so progressive out here, and they're not as progressive as they think they are. I've watched it happen a lot. So I would just say anybody who thinks that racism is a thing of the past in our country is fooling themselves.
We have some black people. Here you all go. You're waiting for it. We don't have many niggas in Colorado.
Right, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've got some nice, affluent, for the most part, black people,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't run into,
Mm-hmm.
right, on a daily basis, poor, uneducated minorities.
Yeah, and that's the whole. We haven't even delved into this, but I mean, there's so many issues involved in it in regards to poverty and education, and part of it is there's more. Look at the statistics of black people in prison. I mean, it's through the roof. I mean, it's unbelievable. Then you have to look at fatherlessness. There's all these complex issues.
Oh, but that's black people, dude. Don't you know?
Right.
Don't you know?
What do you mean?
Huh?
What?
Well, they just don't want to take care of their kids.
Oh yeah, you just kind of cast it off.
Oh, they're
to,
different
just
than you, right?
irresponsible. And,
Yeah. They're different than you.
Yeah.
It's black people.
So there's a lot of complex issues to it, and anybody who wants to try to simplify it is just being lazy, or fooling themselves. But to say it doesn't exist or that the media is the only one responsible for it, I think is silly.
And the media 100% blows it up.
They do.
And the media 100% blows
on
it up.
both ends, and that's part of the issue we were talking about the other day. So you have something like Fox News who goes all this direction, and then you have like MSNBC that goes this other direction. And
I did do some research on this, though.
Yeah.
You know how often Fox News reports the truth?
How often?
18%.
Yeah.
Of what they report is truth.
Yeah. Who did the study? I'd like to see that.
I saw it multiple places.
Yeah.
I didn't look at just one.
Yeah. Most of it's opinion. Like, I mean, if you float through that for very long, you're like, did we ever get to the actual news?
There's no news.
Yeah.
But actual facts that come out.
Mm-hmm.
18%. I was like, damn. I was like, this is literally just entertainment.
Yep. Oh, it's entertainment. That's what it's for. They're trying to make money like everybody else. They serve to their kids.
And they keep saying, and what I don't understand about Fox, what I really don't understand about Fox, is their whole argument about the Ferguson thing so far has been, let's wait till the facts come out. Well, then let's just wait till they come out. Why are all the facts that you are presenting about how bad this kid was?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
right.
You're trying.
Why are you presenting the other side? Your argument is let's see the facts. And then every time a fact that you want to believe comes out, or a story that you want to believe,
it's red alert.
Comes out.
It's like, oh,
here we go. He beat the facial fracture.
Yeah.
There's no facial fracture. You know?
Yeah.
There's no facial fracture. So.
All right. Well,
Big Samoan
balls.
Big Samoan caveman
balls. That's the title of the episode. Yeah.
And learn how to be a man.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's take Hank and Jay to breakfast.
All right. Let's do it.
All right. Peace out, everybody.
And hold on. I don't hate white people.
He doesn't hate white people.
All right. Because I said some a lot, but white people a lot.
All right.
Peace.